All right, welcome to the podcast.
Hi.
So we were just looking back, and last time we talked was April 2021.
Perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So what was going on in your life at that point?
Well, if you go back to that podcast, you might find out what was going on. I think I was a year into online coaching.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember.
I think you were starting to discover that going to the gym 2, 3, 4 times a day maybe wasn't the best thing, and more discovering the health part instead of the just cardio bunny stuff.
Yes, mental health,
Yes.
actually. Yeah, definitely prioritizing mental health over just my ego, I guess,
Yeah.
in the gym.
Okay.
And then also understanding how accessibility, I guess, or lack thereof, plays a huge role in getting people into the gym or wanting to pursue an more active lifestyle.
Okay, so what do you mean by accessibility?
I could also speak from my 410 perspective. Not a lot of machines are built for everybody.
Okay, yeah.
And then access to weights, paying for a gym membership.
Okay,
Yeah, essentially stuff like that. That might not be as accessible to every person, I suppose.
Did you find that you were working with a bunch of clients that had those issues, or you came up like you just a lot of people were reaching out?
I think so. I think because of the content that I was putting out on TikTok at the time, that was before they even had auto-generated captions,
Yes.
which, oh my gracious, if that existed at the time, I remember spending hours just like typing or listening back to what I was saying and like having to type it and then copy it and paste it and then caption it and time it. And now it's just so easy. I can just, and so at the time I really wanted to work with the deaf and hard of hearing community.
Okay,
I really wanted to learn American Sign Language 2 years later, and I have not done that. I think a lot of what I've been moving towards has changed, which I think that's still something, it's still a goal of mine, but.
well, pro tip. My wife before she did influencing, she was an American Sign Language interpreter. So
Wait, maybe we did talk about this.
I think we might have.
Wait, okay, then I'm happy to meet her today.
Yeah, so after we end this, then we'll go chat with her for a little bit.
Oh, yes. See, this is just the
It's working
perfect
out.
timing.
It's working out.
I think, so much that has happened since then has all been such, great things also. We have the highs and lows. But
Okay, so give me some of the highs, because I usually what would happen is I'd find someone on TikTok, I'd follow them, and then if they keep popping up on my page, I'd be like, okay, like let's do a podcast. And yours just has not stopped popping up on my page.
Wow.
So here we are for a second run. But as you started growing on TikTok, what were some of the immediate highs that you were seeing?
Immediate highs were, okay, people are resonating with what I have to say. It's so hard to put yourself out there. But I don't know what was going through my brain where I was just like, who cares? Screw it. But I think understanding that what I was doing and what I was putting out actually had an impact on people. What do they say? Intention is great. It doesn't matter nearly as much as impact. I don't know if you...
I don't know who said that, but that's great.
Yeah. But I think that also, that's like a two-sided thing, because then I can also overthink so much of what I'm putting out there, because you never know. But just knowing that what I had to say was beneficial for people from different walks of life, so life, of course. I don't know. I also, now I'm more of like have shifted towards the trauma-informed type of personal training, which is working a lot more with the brain and mental health. So I don't know. I think all of my content and the people that were responding and resonating with my content has led me up to this point.
Gotcha. Okay. So we were getting a lot of like comments and stuff like that, a lot of followers. Were brands reaching out to us? Like what was going as far as that went?
Brands were reaching out, didn't know how to handle any of that.
Yeah.
Was drowning actually. So, and then I very quickly learned too, I think a lot of creators go through that kind of burnout period too. And then also it's just like the crisis and then the fear of being perceived crept up again.
What does that look like?
Maybe I was like, oh my gosh, like this is real. It isn't just me putting out content for fun anymore.
Yeah.
People are actually listening to me, following my advice. I am making an impact. People trust me, which is also the parasocial relationships are a whole other topic, but it's a lot to know that people are what you say, like has an effect on people. And so when I'm thinking about brands reaching out, I always want to lead with integrity.
Okay.
Everyone says that, but I don't know. Flat tummy tea. I posted something today about flat tummy tea, and I was like, are you kidding me? You clearly do not watch my content if you think my audience will resonate with this. And I had a lot of just supplement brands and, things of that nature reaching out. And I was like, am I just sitting on bags of money by not responding? No, I would never. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. But I have done a couple of partnerships with a few brands, and it's not my main gig. I think I'm way more focused on my training business and my clients and serving them. I will say the past year, I think the content side of things has been put a little bit lower on my priority list. I'm hoping this year, though, that I can adjust because I feel like I've evolved as a person, too, since I've started. So I think being able to find that with my content, how I want to, share more as I once was. That's the thing. I keep comparing to like when I first started, and I know it's not going to be that way.
Yeah. When we had 12, 14 hours a day at home, just chilling. Yeah. And like my business has grown and I'm looking to scale. And I think part of my struggle too was I wanted to do things on my own, but I can't. And I'm learned that now. Yeah. So I'm excited to like challenge myself and actually delegating and asking for help where I need it. So when you're making these life decisions or just decisions in general, do you write them down? Do you talk to a friend? Like how do you problem solve?
I have been journaling a lot more lately.
Okay.
I do I never really talk to my parents like as much as I do now. So I do talk to them and kind of just get a temperature check. But I do have my go-to like friends that I I share things with. They know, sometimes I'm like, wow, you know me better than I know myself. Because I'm definitely a people pleaser type person. Actually, no. I don't want to say that. I have those tendencies. Okay. I am not a people pleaser. Okay. But I do have those tendencies, and I know it's something that I grew up kind of doing. I might have talked about that in the
Let's revisit if they didn't go back and listen to the first one. Yeah. Where did those tendencies first come from?
Not knowing. Let me think. I think being the only woman of color in my classes growing up and not really knowing how to navigate properly. Also immigrant parents too. also just trying to survive. So wanting to feel belonging, community, I would shapeshift and mold myself to whoever I was around.
Gotcha.
You want friends when you're growing up.
Yeah.
And so I think because I was making a lot of decisions for other people and not necessarily for myself, the identity part, I didn't really know what I truly liked. Like, I think I would force myself to do stuff, and because I would get positive feedback from it,
Right.
I'm like, oh, this is right. This is what I should do. So part of my struggle as an adult is like, oh, I can make all these choices for myself. I'm learning so much of like, whoa, I don't actually like this.
Name a couple things.
And maybe this just happens as you mature and stuff.
Yeah.
But like just going out and like, I do like to have a good time, but like I can't do that all the time. And wanting to actually prioritize health for a family.
I would say the thing that gets me about going out is if it's just like with a bunch of my friends, like guys' friends, say we're in Texas, we would go out to the bars and then we would just yell at each other while sitting at a table, and like that's fine, but we were just doing the same thing while playing cards and having sports on in the background without having to yell at each other. So like that every once in a while is fine, but like all the time, I'm okay.
Yeah. And even, I guess, specific to fitness, like certain types of workouts too, right? Or I can even go with people, like friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm better able to, I don't know, identify like, okay, what are my values? Who aligns with that? That's what I've been really trying to learn about myself. My word of the year of 2023 is discernment.
Discernment. Okay, I'm not going to ask you to spell that, but what break down the definition and what it means for you.
Discernment. I think of it as just like the ability to judge, like kind of just judge something for what it is.
Okay.
And so for me, I chose discernment because it also kind of reminds me of alignment. Like, are these things aligning with who I am or what my goals are? And people have such a big influence on that. So I think 2022 was a year that I was grieving a lot.
Okay. I was going to ask you what was 2022, but was the word grieving? Is that?
I don't want to call that the word. I think I did have a word last year. I don't remember. Can't remember what it was. But a word that a friend that I remember, maybe I adopted it myself too. She was like, my word is surrender. I just need to surrender the control and like, I don't know, just keep moving forward and not worry too much about, I don't know, the little things.
Okay.
So I think I kind of adopted that too. But yeah, my therapist last year, I remember her saying, you're going through a lot, like slow down. You're grieving friendships. You're grieving, also old parts of you that you thought were you, which is like, oh my God, we're already so deep, but it was so true. And when I was able to understand that and get more in touch with my emotions and actually process them, holy moly.
So what in 2022, was it at the beginning? Like, what did grieving look like to you?
I didn't know that I was grieving.
Okay.
Which meant that I also wasn't grieving proper. Like, not that there's a right way to do it, but I also have the tendency to avoid emotions. And so I guess really learning to like sit with them and understand them and know that they're going to pass through.
Okay.
And understanding that situations are temporary. Sometimes people are temporary too. I didn't really like to think that. Like, I was like, oh my God, they're my homies forever.
Yeah.
But,
so are we talking like January 1, people start like just dropping out of the club, or like what's happening?
I was also holding on to old parts of me. So
Okay.
I think having to let those things go and accept and surrender. Because I think that something that I said, I remember this. I remember this because I was talking to a boy. And I forgot what we were talking about, like just different cities and the ability to like meet new friends.
Yeah.
And I think something that I said, which I look back at, I'm like, why would I? Clearly I was in a different headspace then. I was like, why would I need to make new friends? I already have all of my homies that know me.
Yeah.
Like, but now I've made so many new friends. We're new friends.
Yeah.
Like I've made so many new friends that have changed so much of my life and like where I'm going. And they've like fed me in such a different way. I don't know. It's weird to make new friends as an adult and then also let go of old friendships too as you change and evolve. So I think, I don't know. What was the question?
So what specifically like was going on? Was it an event that like a group of your friends got together and they're like, oh, we don't want to hang out with you anymore? Or like what specifically was happening?
Woo. I'm like everything, everywhere, all at once.
I still haven't seen that movie.
What?
I know it's an issue, but I'm working on it.
Not an issue. At your own time.
It's an
Watch it.
opportunity.
Yeah. Make it a date night. But no, I don't know. I think I didn't really show up to a lot
Okay.
because I didn't want to. And then I felt guilty. So, but then I was like, why do I feel guilty? And then there were also just some other instances where I had really, really close, friends, girlfriends, guy friends, that I guess, I don't know, maybe I thought. But of course, when you don't see someone, there's so many friendships you make in proximity, like just
Right.
because you're in proximity to each other. And I don't know, I also realized too, like I'm not even aligned in so many things as far as values or beliefs with a lot of these people. And then I'm like, okay, when I do hang out, like why do I know I feel drained in general just because my social battery, but with specific people too, I was just like, why? Literally, why? And so I don't think it was one event. I just think it was just time. And so many things were happening with social media and my business and priorities shifted. And I really had to like evaluate who I was surrounding myself with. Cause it's almost everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that really answers the question.
So like when we're drained, when we're asking ourselves why, what do we go home and do afterwards? Do we just go like sit in the bath? Do we do a workout? Do we eat cupcakes? Like what's going on?
I wish I was eating cupcakes. I actually did bake a lot, of course, still. Even through 2020, 2021, 2022, that was always what I did. I'm like, I'm going to make some bread. And I'm just going to, that's my healthy escape.
What kind of bread are we making?
Pan de sal. It's like the Filipino sweet roll.
Okay. Well, where do we get regular sweet rolls? Like, I'm trying to imagine what a sweet
Hawaiian bread.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ish. Okay. Next time, maybe I'll make some this weekend and swing through. But or I'll move, I'll walk.
Okay.
I'll meditate. Which meditating takes on so many forms that
Yes.
I was trying to get into journaling at the time. Every day I would take my journal and I would put it on my bed every night.
Okay.
And I would get into bed, have the pen, and I don't know what it was, what block it was. I would put it away and I would go to sleep.
Okay.
I did that consistently every single day without writing a single thing, probably for a month. And then one day I was just like, let me just write high. Like, let me just put pen to paper for a second. And I couldn't stop writing.
So let's go one day before that. You're sitting there, the journal, pen in hand. What's the self-talk at that moment?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Even if it's just the date. Like, I was like, what am I doing?
Okay.
I challenge my clients every single day. Like, it's like that exposure therapy. Like, just take your car to the parking lot. And if you cannot get out, that's okay. Next time, open the door.
Yeah.
So I think that it's just that, at least that kind of repetition. And I don't know. I'm avoiding something clearly.
Yeah.
So, and if I want to work through these things, then I have to jump in. So I wish I had the answer. Like, I wish there was just one distinct moment that I was like, let me reevaluate my relationships. And then I wish there was like that one like thought, I guess, that allowed me to put pen to paper. But I really think I just kind of had to give myself time to. I don't know.
Well,
do you have moments like that?
I would say living a generally pretty easy life, as far as there's not a lot of externals pushing me to do things. And if I have to push myself to do something, it's generally, I see a finish line and we'll just say it's like 1 to 10. It's like, okay, my motivation's at like a 1 today. Okay, maybe tomorrow it's a 2. Maybe I'll ask Jessica to pump it up to like a 7 or an 8. So if I need something to push me externally, that's going to be my motivation. But if it's self-motivation, we got to work on that thing.
Okay.
So for me, I used to see it as pass fail. I did it or I didn't do it. Now
Black and white.
Now I try to look at it from a perspective of, okay, there's going to be a trigger, and then depending on the skill and motivation needed to get it done, where did I come up short? Was it too hard of a task where I didn't have enough motivation, or was I just being lazy and didn't really want to push myself to do it and it was easy? So I try to see what went wrong and then see how to fix that issue.
You adapt and adjust. Yeah. That's also a life skill. I was going to say something. I forgot. Oh, I also therapy. I'm like, I briefly like breezed by that, but
how did you get started? Would somebody say you should go, or you just thought you should go? What was the first step?
A breakup in 2017, but it was the best thing ever. Like it changed so much. I also dragged my mom to therapy with me, which was a huge win also for our relationship. I really don't think our relationship would be the way it is now if I had not done that.
Yeah.
And I've since then tried to, encourage her to go with me again, but
how does that
one step
encouraging
at a
go?
time.
What's that conversation?
Please, please. Because I mean, I don't know. My parents sacrificed a lot, and I know. I don't know. It would not feel right to move forward in this life on poor terms,
Gotcha.
with my parents. Cause I don't know. It's just changed a lot. And even in the past couple of years, I think my mom and my dad, they have been so supportive in a way that I would have never, ever, ever imagined.
Okay.
We're just because we've learned how to communicate better. They understand my challenges are different than theirs. We're not it's not a, compete. We're not competing anymore.
Right.
Cause I think in the past it just used to be, we sacrificed a lot for you. And I would just feel like booty because
right.
like, oh, what am I doing? But it's so nice to have their support. And it shouldn't be everything, but to me it is.
Yeah.
So
it's a positive for sure.
Yeah. It helps.
So at this time, I think when we were talking, you were living at your parents',
Yes.
right?
Yep. I was.
So then what does it look like when you start thinking, hey, maybe I should move, or just like what's going on in general there?
I think I was getting too comfy cozy at home, but I did take advantage as far as like traveling and actually meeting people in real life that I was friends with for a year online. It's so wild to me. It's so wild to me.
Yeah.
I think, of course, there's obviously pros and cons of social media and meeting people, but really the people that I've met in real life, I wouldn't go out of my way to meet anyone. Like, of course, I want to build that relationship and trust first, but yeah, I'm like, don't go out and just meet up with strangers. Not encouraging that. But it's been so enriching, and I'm so glad that I got to make those connections in real life too while I could. Because now that I'm actually out, having maintained those relationships has served me really well. Hopefully both. I'm like, hopefully mutually, but I think I don't know. I think I knew, like, in order for me to expand and grow as a person, I needed to put myself through something really not drastically uncomfortable, but I'm ready. I was ready for a change.
Okay. So when you started traveling, like, what were some of the places you were going, and what did you do there?
Where have I gone the past couple of years? My brother was still in school at the time, so we visited him in Stockholm. My family loves to travel. I'm so lucky that I got to experience that since I was young. So we went to Iceland. Beautiful. So well preserved, so pure. And then, of course, like when I was visiting other people, I was going to New York frequently, LA, the Bay Area. I also have family everywhere.
Okay.
So like
that helps.
That helps a ton.
Yeah.
It helps so much as far as the monies go.
Yeah.
But I was bopping around everywhere, I feel like. So I had to learn the balance too of working and traveling and being social and rest.
What's your routine when you're traveling? Do you try to like get in a workout as soon as you get there, or get like a recovery meal in? Or like what kind of centers you when you're traveling?
My family.
Okay.
Usually I'm visiting or staying with family. And so last year, actually, I feel that I learned a lot more about my family. I think I knew some of these stories before, but I took them for granted in the past.
What are we hearing?
Just how my family got here, or just like, family stories.
Okay.
Almost like a home video type thing, but I'm hearing from my uncles and aunts themselves.
Yeah.
And some conversations, I was also like, I don't know, it made me so proud to be.
Do any of those stories stand out to you, or like what about them made you proud?
I think just how like, what's the right word?
2024?
Like my family's my 2024 word, loyalty. No, I think my family's we're just ride or die for each other always. We will always be there for each other, as any family. I mean, oh my gosh.
That got tested.
Yeah. No, actually, yeah. Because I did hold I had some personal stuff that I didn't understand. And I've shared this before, that I did have some resentment towards my family. I don't know necessarily, I guess I do know why. I internalized a lot, and I kind of put myself in the victim mode where I couldn't meet these standards, which they never really set. I just, and kind of making a lot of decisions out of fear or shame fear that I would bring shame to the family.
Okay.
So now that I'm in a different space now. I've learned a lot. I don't carry that resentment anymore. So I can actually listen and take in these stories and be proud of like where I came from, and understand why like that we're so ride or die for each other.
Well, why is that so like apparent to you? Like, what have you heard from them that makes it so?
I guess the sacrifices that they would make, like with their families or with my cousins, and it's so funny, like just in passing too. And my dad himself, he's so humble. He brought out this binder of all of his credentials and would, kind of tell me his journey of, oh yeah, I lived in Brooklyn once, or I lived in New York before. I was like, what? You did? And they had 36-hour shifts, which is illegal now.
What was he doing? He
was working, I think, at the Kings County Hospital, the busiest ER in America at the time. And he saw some SHIT. Can I swear?
Absolutely.
He saw some shit.
Yeah.
And which makes sense. Like, he's so desensitized. A lot of people in healthcare are. But he would do that work, a 36-hour shift. He would take a break, and then he would drive up to Boston, because that's where my mom, brother, and I were.
Okay.
To be with us.
Yeah.
And just like stories like that, I'm just like, one, how is that allowed?
I think cocaine was a big factor. not saying for your father, but if I remember the story correctly, whenever like the guy that came up with that long extended shift, I'm pretty sure he was a big fan of cocaine. Like, he's just
I don't blame them.
Let's do it.
And I would not want to be in an ER knowing that whoever was treating me has been awake for 30 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't even be operating a car, let alone treating a patient. I don't know. But it's stuff like that. That's just what it was at the time.
Yeah.
So
did your parents come over first? Did they come over with you? Like, how did your whole family get over?
From the Philippines?
Yeah.
My uncle, I don't have the story straight.
Hey, I'm not fact checking. I'm not calling up your uncle. You can say whatever. I'm like, that's great. I'll believe you.
Okay. I think it was my uncle that first came over here, or my grandma petitioned my dad to come over here.
Oh, okay. When you say petition, I thought like she was writing to the government or something.
Yeah. And so they were also studying with their green cards for a while. But because my uncle worked he served in the military.
The U.S. military?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I'll get these facts straight before I share the story. Maybe the next podcast I'll have it.
All right.
But I know that's how my dad's side got over here.
Okay.
My mom's side, I don't know.
They're
here.
All right.
All mostly in California. Bay Area, of course.
Gotcha.
Daly City. Well, that's where they'll be.
What's California like nowadays? When was the last time you were back? Last
year, July.
Okay. And how is it as far as like I've only been to San Francisco. Like, is that the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like I said, I haven't been there in a while. So what are we doing in San Francisco?
Honestly, I always say that I love visiting the Bay Area. And people are like, oh, what do you do there? I know it's beautiful. The nature is great. But really, it's because my family's there.
Gotcha.
So we just hang out all the time and shoot the shit and get hyphy, whatever. But it's just so fun. And now all my cousins are having babies and getting houses. And like, my brother and I are the youngest of my generation of cousins.
Nice.
So it's like I have all of these older siblings that before I used to say, I wish I had an older sibling. It's tough to be the eldest. Are you the oldest sibling?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
We got some bonus siblings. So now
bonus.
Yeah. we got my sister. She's the oldest. And then I got one that's my age and one that's a year younger than one that's like 2 or 3 years younger.
Okay,
So
great.
we got a couple now.
Yeah. Growing up, I was always like, I wish I had an older sibling. It's hard. This is hard. But I don't know. I think obviously things happen the way that they happen, but I'm also, again, blessed with a bunch of older siblings in a way with all my cousins.
Yeah.
So I got really excited when I saw your baby because
She's a wonderful baby.
yes, because also a lot of COVID was me, helping out with nieces and nephews and stuff. So woof, to be a parent is a lot.
So we go to make the move. How do we pick New York? Is that the first place you went? Or did you go somewhere else first?
I would always thought that I was going to be in California.
Okay.
I am going to be. I'm going to end up there. But last year I kept being pulled to New York.
Yeah.
I think I visited New York 5 times last year before I actually moved. Yeah. And it's not like I even explored Brooklyn at all. I was mainly in Manhattan or upstate at my cousin's place. But I don't know, something about the city is just like, I love to be a little fish, especially growing up, not being in a bubble and people kind of know what's going on with you all the time and they care too much and like, I don't know. So it just felt nice to be, I don't know, in my own little world. Also, people don't really give a fuck. So I'm learning to be a lot more brave and to be a lot more of myself because what else, like what for, and so I've been challenged a lot and learning how I now navigate certain situations is just like.
So how is it different? Like what, give me, break down a couple things.
I think going back to one, maintaining relationships and friendships, and then meeting new friends and the discernment of, okay, are they for me and are they not? Going to certain events, what's my intention going into this event? Is it for clout? Is it for my ego? Or do I really think that I can make worthwhile connections here? Or maybe I'll meet someone that aligns with like what I hope to do, or maybe I'll learn something from this person. I guess I could do that anywhere, but out of all places, I chose New York. And I think it's also because I do have a cousin nearby.
Okay.
I have a cousin upstate. If I really wanted a little taste of home or home cooked meal, I can go there. So I still have that comfort.
Okay.
Which I think was kind of a non-negotiable for me if I did decide to move, which I had also in California.
Yeah.
I think I just needed to live on my own also.
So you're on your own.
I have a roommate,
Okay.
but yeah, on my own as in just out of the nest.
Right. What was the first couple of weeks like having that more or less by yourself?
So I actually dog sat for the first 2 weeks that I moved to New York for a friend.
Okay.
And I was like, this could go swimming. This could go really well, or this could be the worst decision ever.
Yeah.
And it went really well.
Okay.
And now I really want a dog. I think the move, obviously physically, it was just like, I knew going in that it was going to be temporary. But emotionally, whoa, I was going through it. I was like, wow, my life has literally changed. I'm reorienting myself to the world, completely changing my reality. I have to walk to do my laundry. These buildings are centuries old. I have to cook for myself. Like, there's so many little things, but having dog sat those first 2 weeks was so nice. Just like, wow, this little animal is just around, loves me unconditionally, and like it just brought me so much peace too. And I felt a little bit more safe walking around kind of the neighborhood.
Okay.
I didn't know Bed-Stuy at all. So it was a good choice, I guess, to do that. And walk around the neighborhood, take her out 3 times a day, and explore, really.
So when going through all the move and whatnot, how do you figure out your physical fitness as well as your mental health while you're moving?
How I guess, what do you mean by figure out?
So like you have routine at home, what you're going to be doing for like your workouts and stuff like that. Do you just follow that at home, or you're like, I'm going to explore? Like where's that routine at?
That's something that I'm still trying to navigate and figure out. But I will say part of the challenge that I wanted to take on for myself was time management.
All right.
Because when I'm home, I'm home, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I can do whatever, whenever. I have a car. When I'm in Grand Rapids, you can pretty much get anywhere in 15 minutes. Although
Nice.
apparently my mom says traffic's getting a little bit worse. I'm like, okay, so 20 minutes then. But with the trains, I have to be timely. If I say I'm going to be somewhere,
Yeah.
I gotta show up.
Yes.
And I finally understand what people in New York say, when they're like, oh, it's in Williamsburg. See ya.
Is that just too many trains to hop on? Or?
Yeah.
Okay.
The trains in Brooklyn, they don't really go north, so you have to go through Manhattan sometimes. So I'm like, I understand that. It can take 20 minutes to 40 minutes to an hour and some change to get places. And I am is notorious. Is that the right word? I'm known for being late. Just a late person. I don't even want to blame it on Filipino time. I just know that I've always been that way. And maybe it's the diagnosed ADHD, but I don't want to use that as an excuse.
So is it because you missed that one train and then you're on the next, or it's just break down a typical when you're going to be late?
I don't know if the time blindness, I don't know that exact definition, but I'm pretty sure it might be that. I am awful. I'm awful at gauging how much time something is going to take.
Okay.
Underestimate it so much. And you would think that I would know.
I'm with you.
I was I'm going to be here I'm going to try to leave at 1. What time did I leave? 2. So my friends know me. They lie. And that's a lie that I love. Just tell me an hour earlier than when I have to be there, because and the other day too, I just met someone in person a week ago, and they were even, I was like, okay, 6:30. And they were like, 6:30 your time? Or,
They knew.
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I should just put that out there because I know that's something.
So what generally happens? So Jessica, we're leaving for Florida Sunday. She's packed already. That's all of her clothes are in there, all that and stuff. Well, yeah, she just stood in the room while I packed. She's like, we're going to check this off, make a quick video. My husband packing. You're going to bring shirts this time? You didn't bring shirts last time. I brought shirts this time. So we're good and ready. So what does it look like for you when you're planning? Let's go today. You're like, hey, I'm going to leave at 1 o'clock. What was going on there?
Oh man, that's so hard because it's also, and I couldn't even use the trains as an excuse. I think I was just like, okay, calling the Uber, it's going to be here in 5 minutes. Never 5 minutes. Usually I was also packing.
Gotcha.
I was also packing. I was like, I have to make sure I have everything.
Yep.
And somehow I'm always rushing, and I give myself so much buffer time, but sometimes I just don't even know what happens in between me starting to get ready and the time I actually have to leave. And I'm like, how is it 30 minutes past that time already? Beats me. I think I just get distracted either on my phone or sending emails or doing this or that, where I think things need to get done at this very moment when they don't. That's the discernment too. Yeah.
I was watching The Menu with Jessica.
Okay.
It's probably like a month and a half ago. And I had volleyball that night, and I was just like counting down the time, and Jessica's like, don't you have to go soon? I'm like, babe, it's 18 minutes away. It's fine. Like, whatever.
Exactly.
I was 100% late. Like, I was 5 minutes late to the game.
Which is like,
I imagined as soon as the game was done, I was going to teleport to the car with my clothes on that I was going to change into, and I would just be out the door 0 seconds from we were watching in the bed on the computer to my car in 0 seconds.
Yep.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah. Yep. See, I think that too. I'm like, oh, the train? Yeah, I'll be there in 10 minutes. The train's not even here yet. And the whole ride is supposed to allegedly 20. So I don't know what I'm thinking sometimes. And I think that most people that I do meet, if it's a very important meeting, like, okay, I will get my shit together. And it's not that I'm disrespectful of people's time on purpose, but that is something that I'm really, really working on, because I know.
Get yourself a Jessica. I don't know what her parents did when they were raising her, but we're like early to when people are like, they say their party time is, and they're like setting up, and like we show up. I'm like, we're good. Like, we don't show up to random people's houses early, but she's like, okay, we're going to wait a little bit. We might be a little early on this one. I was like, hey, you figured it out. I'm just driving us there. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah. See, yeah, I do need that in my life. And I definitely have those people in my life.
They're good to have around.
Yeah. Yep. We'll see though. I'm working on it. I think I'm a little bit better, but
Hey, you still got a lot of friends. We're going to keep you around. So as far as like workouts go, how do you plan what you're going to do? And then what does it look like now?
I do the same shit every time, pretty much.
Okay.
I think I have my go-to favorite drills for whatever muscle group that I want to work.
Yeah.
But for the past year, I think it's pretty much been the same variation of the same workouts, without a goal specifically. I think last year was the year of the pull-up. So I just pick one.
Yeah.
I pick one overall goal, and the rest is kind of like fun.
Okay.
Just because it's more sustainable for me that way. Maybe eventually I'll get onto some program, or maybe I'll hire a trainer. But right now, my current goal is handstands. I just learned how to do a shoulder stand. But yeah, I don't have too much structure, honestly. I know the days that I'm feeling it and I want to challenge myself, and maybe I'll do one of my full workouts. Usually it's push-pull legs.
Okay.
But most of the time I kind of go in and do what I know, challenge myself as much as I can that day, and call it. Okay. I never want to spend too much time in the gym, because time is money. No, I'm kidding. Because I just don't want to. I don't know. There's better things to do. I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I think it's so fun. Not to go in without a plan, but just to go based off of how you feel that day.
So would you say, based off the skill and motivation thing I was talking about earlier, where would you say your skill is as far as knowing what your body can handle and like how to push yourself?
Ooh, I've gotten so much better at that over, obviously, the years and experience. I always have to check, obviously, energy first. Because I don't want to put myself in a position where I'm at a higher risk for injury because I didn't sleep. Right. You know, but I have to pause, I think, in between. Like, I mean, of course you have to pause, but I do kind of like a body scan.
Okay.
If I'm really like, I'm not really sure. Like, I feel like I could, but I don't know if it's my ego. So I'll do kind of a mini body scan where I'm just like going from head to toe. How is my body really feeling? And like trusting that I'm making the right choice if I decide to walk away.
Yeah.
I think we have a hard time with that in general because I'm stubborn, but I'm so glad that I accept that it's okay to do that because I feel like so often it's just push through it or you're a whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Do you feel that way? Do you struggle with that?
I would say generally, I'd say my biggest issue is like knee pain at the moment. And I do some knees over toe stuff. It always feels better.
There you go.
It always feels better afterwards. So like I'm now consistently doing CrossFit. I'll go in, get on the sled, walk backwards for 5-10 minutes, do some of the reverse hyper, help out the lower back. I would say the consistency on that would be is needed to be improved, but it's better than what I was doing the last couple of years. But I think development over the years has gotten me to a place to where it's like, hey, this isn't the prescription of what exactly I should be doing, but this is how I'm making decisions. So I'd say for the last maybe 2-3 months, like knees have been fine. Kind of slacked off a bit because they weren't bugging me a little bit. And I have volleyball Mondays, basketball Tuesdays, volleyball Wednesdays. And yeah, so what did I say? Wednesday, knees are hurting a little bit from basketball. I was like, okay. Ooh. Like we need to back on the consistency a little bit more. But I'm not trying to squat 500 pounds, deadlift 500 pounds anymore.
There's no reason to.
So that's not something I'm pushing as hard to anymore. And for like Metcons and stuff at the gym, one of the workouts yesterday, 2 days ago, was 225 and handstand push-ups. So you do 21 of each, and then you do 15 of each, and then you do 9 of each. Like maybe 2 years ago, I would have done that, like gone through it. Would have felt terrible, would have taken way too long. This time I backed off the weight and did push press instead. So I'm like, okay, like we're slowly building back up, and that's something that like I'll come home and brag to Jessica. It's like, oh, I scaled it. I scaled it. And she's like, that's great.
Yeah,
I'm happy you're happy about it.
Yeah.
But
that's cool.
But it's something that it took me a very long time to understand that like the goal isn't to be the strongest, because I'm not going to get there the way I was doing it. Like I could make big jumps, but not so much right now.
Yeah. It's like, I always think people will gravitate towards whatever type of movement that they truly enjoy. I always encourage clients to do that. It's like, you're not, maybe you are. I'm like, you're not going to be a competitive athlete. There's no reason to want to squat 500 pounds unless that's something that you want to, like, you do you always. But I don't know. Social media, fitness stuff, I think, with what people are seeing, especially younger people, it's like, this is how it has to be because everyone else is doing it. But if you're not enjoying what you're doing, I don't know. And
so
then,
do you work out for body image, mental health, physical health? Like how does fitness fit into your, we'll say, health journey or idea?
mental health is number one for me, knowing the way that I've operated and lived my whole 26 years of life. Mental health and physical health, of course. They go hand in hand. So, but I will say, like, from the trauma-informed perspective of lifting and understanding, okay, your window of tolerance, that's your ability to tolerate discomfort. Knowing that my motivation is health for my family, for my, job, career, living, doing the things. How can I expand my window of tolerance and how can I work with it? I think that's also how I navigate movement now. if I do plan to go into the gym or walk or something. But I think if I want to be a trauma-informed personal trainer, I have to walk the walk too.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason that I move.
What type of client do you get, and then what does it look like process-wise with you? Because I feel like a lot of TikTok trainers are, you come with me, you're going to lose 30 pounds in a month. I'm going to have you eat 1,000 calories a day and cardio an hour a day. And then here's your bro split.
That makes me cringe.
So I will put this out there. It 100% works if you follow it correctly and you are a robot.
And you
absolutely crush it. Like when AI. ChatGPT, do it.
Yes.
So when I used to work with clients, I would give them a program. I'd say, okay, here's your workout. Let's figure out what you want to eat. I wouldn't do 1,000 calorie deficit, but I was like, hey, 500 calories. If they listen to what I say, it works. I was the best coach ever if I didn't have to do any coaching and I just gave them a plan.
Totally.
But when it comes to real life, those things change a little bit. You got to see what works for you. So how do you help people through the tough spots?
The clients that I typically work with know, which has been really nice because they know what I am about.
Okay.
I'm not about results. I think that's great if if it happens when it happens, but it's so much more of adherence and consistency. How do I make movement a regular part of my lifestyle in a way that serves me? In a way that helps my mental health, physical health, everything that we've talked about.
Yeah.
It's really special, like, to work with clients that kind of know that that's the purpose and the intention, because they just get more excited about the things that I get excited about. Like, my deadlift felt so good today, or like, I finally got into the gym today. I think I get a lot of clients that have had poor experiences in the past, either in working with a trainer or college sports, even high school. It's so wild how much of that can, in a way, be traumatizing to your, like, feeling safe and comfortable in your body.
Yeah.
And so I guess that is my goal, is like, I want you to feel safe and comfortable in your body so that you can do the things that you want to do.
Okay.
Whether that's like in work, in social situations, it's a lot more than just training. But we use training as a way to, like, as a microcosm to life. It's so special. And I think I am so grateful that I stuck with it, because I think for a while I was like, this is not sustainable. And I was going based off of like the NASM, just, I didn't know kind of my niche or where I fit into the trainer world, I guess, until literally August of 2022. So recently, when I took the trauma-informed personal training, because I was like, this is already what I'm doing with my clients.
Right.
I just found out that I'm more aligned with this style of training, because at the time I didn't have the reassurance of what I was doing was right.
Gotcha.
I was like, people probably think I'm like a pushover, I'm too gentle, but no, I'm just seeing them and listening to them and understanding them. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I just got really excited.
Well, no, keep going on that. What is trauma-informed training?
It's working with, I really like the way that the Emily who led the training, she said, you're not just working with bodies, you're working with the nervous system. And so, like we talked about earlier, the window of tolerance, it's more operating from that, learning how to discern like what your body needs and when it might need it. And then of course, when you're lifting weights and understanding how that feels, it's so foreign to people. But it basically is like, that's the main thing, is working with that tolerance. Like, meeting yourself where you are.
Okay.
And then working with the brain, kind of like mental health at the forefront of everything too. So I'm like, maybe I should go back to school and also get my therapy or whatever license. But yeah, it's a different approach. And I think the people that resonate with it, or maybe what am I trying to say? I think certain trainers resonate with certain types of people, right? And so understanding what your needs are.
Gotcha.
Because sometimes I think there's trainers that don't necessarily, I think we use words like, oh, they're lazy, or what are the other kind of like things that are more blaming the client instead of the trainer, right? Like maybe it's not that they're lazy. Maybe it's just that the way that you're encouraging them isn't aligned.
You're not moving the motivation scale.
Yeah.
You're not getting them to the 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that might be the motivation you usually need, that's not. It's just, if they're not doing what you're saying, you're just not coaching very well.
Yeah. And I think like too, being aware, like people can get triggered by certain things, like loud slamming of weights. It's, or bright lights. Like I think there's just so many things that we don't consider when it comes to the space and environment that you're in that can affect how you feel in your body, like how safe you might feel.
Yeah.
When you don't feel safe, then you can't express.
No.
So
Absolutely. And to wrap things up, we'll ask the same 2 questions, but I'm sure they're going to be different. What's your definition of health? Not necessarily the dictionary definition, but what is it to you?
Oh man, health is being whole. I'm like physically, mentally, emotionally, and being able to pursue the things that you love and value. I think that's health.
Love that. And then what's something from your life that you think the listeners would be able to take away as a positive?
I hope you cut this part. I'm trying to think.
Hey, we like the silence. Building suspense.
Can you repeat the question?
What's something from your life that you think the listeners would be able to take away as a positive? Could be a life lesson, could be a story.
I think I also want to encourage people to, let me think. I think understanding the role that you play in creating a safe and welcoming environment for other people.
Okay.
Also will help you understand understanding what that means for you will help create that for other people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Love that. Thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.